Welcome to Try This at Home. I'm Cliff Bumgardner.
I'm still Harrison Stewart.
I guess. For at least the time being, you're still...
For now. We'll see how it works out. It's not going great so far.
Our myths this week are Chinese invasion alarm and the 5-second rule. This episode originally aired October 19th, 2005. It was produced by Alice Dallow and written by Martin Ives or Ivy. Still don't know how to say his name. Sorry, Martin. And we'll
get it eventually.
Our last rewatch for the season.
What?
We did it.
Season 2 and/or 3 completed.
Season whatever it's the end of season 3 on HBO Max, and therefore it is the end of season 3 here on Try This at Home.
On the official non-official.
The officially non-official Mythbusters podcast.
That's right.
Which we can say we will be back for another season starting sometime this fall. And we are not going to leave you guys empty-handed. In the meantime, we're going to have some special bonus episodes coming out. The plan is to have a new bonus episode every 2 weeks, just to give us a little bit of time to rest and start getting the new season together. But we will be back very, very shortly with bonus episodes and then more rewatches in the future.
Yay.
But before we get there, we had an episode to talk about. What did you think of this one?
I thought that for how potentially boring this one was to look at, it had some of the most fascinating results.
Totally agree.
I really, like, they lined them up, and as they were unfolding, I was like, is this gonna be interesting to shoot? Like, is this going to be framed in a way that, but the fact that they just went so sideways from what I was expecting, really sold me on them.
I don't know if it's just because it's the end of the season, and so maybe I have that finality in my brain. My big takeaway was this almost felt like Mythbusters defending their thesis. Like, this felt like the culmination of so many things that we've seen on the show and talked about to this point. Not that the show is over, but just they nailed it. Like, this is where it all comes together. The build team, Adam and Jamie, they're all working on the by the end of the Chinese invasion alarm myth. As you said, it's not the most visually interesting stuff. There's no explosions. There's no guns. There's no plops. There's none of the big ticket stuff that we've come to expect, and yet it's so good. The storytelling just nails it. I also loved, this is another thing that kind of made it feel like a good end point for the season, is there was a lot more like bloopers in this episode.
I noticed that as well.
Including a boom mic that came into the shot at one point. I don't know if you noticed that.
I sure did. It was when they were doing the Petri dish thing. And they zoomed in and they zoomed out for just a second and then was like, oh, boom, 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 and went, yep.
Yeah, it felt a lot more, it felt loose in a good way, but not loose from storytelling, but just loose in we know these characters, and so now we can kind of play around and we can see them screw up lines and we can call back to other episodes because of, we've all been through it at this point. I loved it.
Yes. It felt like a documentary where the story is unfolding as they're trying to cover it and capture it. So occasionally you're going to get crew in there, but it doesn't really matter because it's not that type of documentary. You know what I mean?
I'm so I'm so glad you said that.
I think it worked. And also I love seeing the crew.
That just put you just kind of capped off a thought that I had the whole time I was watching it. That is another one of those things that's so unique about Mythbusters that I don't think we've actually talked about that much. And maybe we're just seeing it really come to fruition now.
Maybe we're just bad at this.
But it doesn't feel like the tests, obviously they are, but it does not feel like the tests and everything are being done for the TV show. It feels like a documentary that is following people who are just doing this legitimately. They're not playing to camera that much. It's not set up they'll set things up and put, cool arrows and signs and stuff to tell the story better, but they're not playing to it. They're not setting the test up in a really beautiful environment that's going to look perfect on camera. No, they're going where they have to do. They're doing the work and the cameras are capturing it. That's it's a narrow distinction, but today it would be the exact opposite. Everything would be played to camera. Everything would be done. It would be a TV show first and experimentation second. And in this case, as Adam told us when he was on the show, it really is the experiments, the tests come first, and the show kind of catches up and brings you into it. And this episode was maybe the biggest example of that we've seen.
I completely agree. I mean, down to the fact that there were several instances where Adam was like, I'm going to test this because I'm personally interested. It's like, you know what? Great. I trust you. I trust your curiosity.
You've earned that, Adam. You have an entire myth-busting machine at your disposal. Go for it. I would do that.
Go for it. Put the glove over your face. But don't do it at home.
Myth 1, Chinese invasion alarm. So this is a very interesting story that changes over the course of the episode, and we'll get to that. But the way that they introduce it is by saying that this is the myth of an ancient Chinese warning detection system for approaching armies that involved actually making essentially a big pottery drum that they would put in shafts underground, and it was said that they could use these drums to actually detect not only how far an approaching army was away, but what direction they were coming from. So it's actually it's supposed to be this incredibly sensitive device, and they're going to build that and see if that is in fact true. I did notice, to something that we talked about last week with the Revisited episode, did you catch them say that it was posts on their website that suggested this myth?
I did.
That makes me believe there was a forum.
We have to find it.
We have to, the Wayback Machine.
In the Wayback. You beat me to it. You beat me to it. There's a delay. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
Maybe you can go find all the comments that are going to piss you off so much.
Me?
Yeah.
You think I'm good at the internet? No. No, I make silly faces and sometimes even voices. That's why I'm here.
I just mean you can find the original, like, you guys didn't do this right comment and just figure out who that person is.
Okay, and maybe we can do, speaking of silly voices, maybe we can do a supercut of me reading these obnoxious comments in my worst voices. I would enjoy that. I don't know if anyone else would, but I certainly would.
Let's investigate this for one of our mid-season or between-season bonus episodes. See if we can actually go back. If anyone knows, if anybody can find this old Mythbusters website or Mythbusters forum, we'd love to see it. And it can't be like the modern subreddit. I mean the OG. I would love to know what that is.
The original. Also, look at us emulating the show, figuring it out in real time.
Right? That's us. You think we have a plan over here?
Never.
People have heard the show. And then...
yeah. And stopped. Two things early on in this myth. So initially they think that what they're testing for is to see if they can hear approaching footsteps. Right? Through, what is it, terraforma? Is that
well, terra firma. Yeah, the earth.
Oof. Well, edit it to make it so that I don't sound like an
terraforma
idiot.
would be like on Mars or something, I think.
That's right. Terraforming. That's right. I'm a sci-fi guy. I also love how I'm about to comment on someone else being stupid right after that.
That's the whole premise of this show. What are you talking about?
Okay. They're like, well, golly, I guess we have to build. Were you yelling at your TV like I was when they were like, we have to build a machine that will emulate like an army's footsteps? I was like, you have one.
Yes.
You have many. I've seen them.
I immediately wrote that down. I was like, oh my God, are the robots coming back? Are we getting the little marching army again? And we don't. They briefly show the stomping rig that Tori was making, and then it never comes back because the myth changes. But man, I wanted to see the little pneumatic stompers.
We gotta talk about that rig.
What, the Tori stomper?
Yes. Now, granted, right out of the gate, have to say we never end up getting the finished product for reasons we'll get to in a second. However, did it look like it was going to work to you?
Kind of. I mean, And why do you need a robot or any device in this context to simulate walking? Like, I get it in the original, like when they were testing the bridge myth, it was dangerous. And they needed an army. They couldn't just, get people up there doing it. It would have been too much. But in this case, they just needed to like stand kind of far away and stomp. Why? Why does that require technology?
I don't know. I think they just wanted to build a robot with a suspiciously large thigh gap, but I'm sure when you listen to that back, you can hear my hesitation. No, I went for it.
Body standards on robots have just gotten out of hand.
It is so. Look,
I've seen Ex Machina.
Are you going to?
Unachievable robot aesthetics.
Cannot pronounce her name.
I know. I'm just avoiding it. I was like, I'm not even gonna try to get into that.
You know who I'm talking about.
It does make me slightly sad on the robot thing that we didn't get to see Stomper robots made by Grant.
I would have loved. Well, it is very. I love that they're like, okay, we need Stompers. Tori, you got this. And he's like, yes, I got it. I do really also love that what he was building looks like. Are you familiar with kicking machines?
No.
Is that okay? On the way to the beach when I was growing up, there was this little outpost that sold like antique stuff and knickknacks. Basically, it's just like there's a crank and a bar and a boot at the end that just goes round and round.
Oh, okay. I have seen these things.
Yes, you can kick people with it, and in my family, it's 2 boys and a girl, so I think you can guess how this turned out. Not great. I got kicked in the face. No. Well, yes, but beside the point. That's exactly what it looked like he was building.
It did. It really did.
Like double kickers.
Can we also talk about, before we get to the change in this myth, can we talk about they go to buy a pot, and they go to, like, I think they said it was like Chinatown in San Francisco, to get this large vase. Basically, they're going to turn into their ancient drum. And the woman that they're buying it from claims on camera that it's over 100 years old. That can't be true, right?
Wait, why not?
Because it doesn't. Number one, because it's just in a random knickknack shop.
So? But random knickknack shops can't have new items that are over 100 years? Cliff,
generally
knickknack shops are where you get monkey's paws, okay? I think they can handle
gremlins.
100-year and gremlins. I think they can handle a 100-year-old pot.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the shop from Gremlins. That would make sense.
I could be wrong. It easily could be. I don't really understand why they needed it to be somewhat old.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like if they were going for authenticity, obviously you probably can't get easy access to something from what did they say, like the 3rd century BCE?
Yeah.
Like, I understand why you can't get that. That's fine. I know how much y'all love to build old stuff the old-fashioned way. Just make a pot the same way that they would have made a pot in that era. You know, like, I trust these researchers. They're bright young fellows. I think they can figure it out.
Yeah, I found that whole sequence very confusing. It didn't end up mattering because of what happened next. But yeah, yes. I just want to go on record that I don't think the pot was 100 years old. I'm just gonna.
Wow. Cliff.
I'm saying.
Questioning.
That's where I take
questioning this random knickknack store. That bold. Couldn't be me. I just want our audience to know only one half of this podcast agrees with that sentiment.
Okay, that's the dividing line. Everything we've been through, that's the one that's going to split us apart.
Yes, this is the one. This is our breakup point.
So
this is our oh no.
What ends up happening is they essentially they just like kind of break into the show and say, we got new information. And they say that the publisher of the textbook where they got this story from, I guess the researchers went and actually did a fact check with the textbook company, the publisher, and they sent their fact-checking sheet, which changed a lot of the details of the myth, including the size of the pots, the depth of the tunnels, that kind of thing. But the big change is that they said it's not really about, the drums weren't to detect approaching armies, but burrowing armies who are attempting to tunnel underground, which
I
immediately,
hate it when that happens.
right? To
I
me,
hate it when you have an army that burrows underneath my stronghold.
this made so much more sense, though.
Could be a euphemism.
Just gonna burrow right through that one.
Carry on.
I did think this immediately
Tunnel
made this
on?
more plausible to me, though. That because the
Yes.
whole approaching armies thing and the direction, and we could find the distance and blah blah
You
blah
can
blah
see
blah.
them.
Yeah, well, that's what Adam said.
can
Why not
see
just
them.
build a tower? If you're gonna do that, wouldn't you just have scouts and watchtowers and stuff? And that's how it was done for thousands and thousands of years. But the idea of the army could be tunneling underneath you, and you would have to figure that out, ends up being the thing that I think makes this so satisfying, because it unlocks the fact that this works. Not to get too far ahead, but holy cow, had this not happened, they would have been testing something completely ridiculous the whole time. We've never seen that happen, where they actually change not just how they're doing it, but what they're testing for right in the middle of the myth. But I'm so glad they did.
I am incredibly glad they did as well. They also introduce another element to this when they actually go out, dig a hole, put the pot inside. Grant also sets up modern equipment
Yes.
to try to see which method is better. And I'm not a sound guy. However, I thought I had this one's number.
Oh, really?
I was like, Grant, you're kind of being you're kind of spoiling it. You're being a spoiler right now. Obviously the modern technology is going to work better than a pot that you put a sheepskin over. Call me crazy. I think the tech is gonna work a bit better. Call me crazy.
You're crazy.
What?
Oh, is that not what you wanted?
Why? No, that is what I want. And then I wanted you to use that as an excuse to launch into explaining that is exactly what happened.
Well, if anybody thinks this show is heavily scripted, I think we just put that to bed.
Nobody ever thought that. At no point in the production of the show has anyone been like, this is tight.
This is really well planned, and
this is really well.
these guys really have it together. Well, I want to mention before we get to that result, we saw two pieces of modern technology in that sequence. Did you notice? We got to see Deadblow, Grant's BattleBot, showed up.
What?
That was what was picking the ground when he was testing the geophone at M5.
No.
That's Deadblow, the infamous BattleBot. Fawn Davis talked about that when he was on the show a couple of months ago for our Remembering Grant Imahara episode, and I had no idea that we actually
First
got
appearance of Deadblow.
Yeah, we got a Deadblow cameo. That made me so happy the second that I saw it. That was awesome.
I did not. I guess I don't know what Deadblow looks like. So, and because they didn't draw attention to it, I was immediately like, woo, woo.
Well, that's the thing, is like no one in the show is
But
surprised.
that's why it's a cameo and not a full first appearance.
And no one's surprised when Grant happens to have a robot. So they didn't really spend any time on it. It wasn't like, whoa, Grant's got it. Was just like, yeah, this is his robot with a pickaxe on it. You know that's going
Of course
to...
he has a robot.
You know
Why
that's
would
what...
he not have a robot for this specific purpose?
Exactly.
That's actually weird that you thought he didn't.
It would be weird if he did.
Kind of weird, actually.
Another thing I don't want to gloss over, because they do gloss over it in the show, and it deserves a pause, is the goat shaving. And specifically...
you do want to go over that?
I
do
do-
want to go over the goat shaving?
I do want to go over the goat shaving specifically because Carrie mentions very offhandedly perhaps one of the greatest side characters. You know how we love Mythbuster side characters here on the show,
Yes.
but that we never get to see. She mentions that they learned to shave a goat from someone called Akbar the Goat Shaver.
Sure. Why not?
Which is the most Monty Python character we've ever heard of on the show, and I want to see who that was.
Well, and especially since we don't see it.
I know. It could be
it's
anybody.
Just kind of like a take our word for it. It's like, all right, sure, why not? Akbar the goat shaver.
He exists, I promise.
I hope.
I really
Otherwise, I have questions.
I know. I really, really want to know who Akbar the goat shaver was. It is a shame. It feels like we have been denied a great, maybe our new favorite Mythbuster side character.
He certainly gets an honorable mention, I think.
Yeah. For sure.
We can't give him full credit until Akbar is actually in the show. Excuse me, Akbar the goat shaver.
Yeah.
That way you know which Akbar I'm referring to.
Part of me is like thinking,
I wonder if they're related.
Is it?
Because, Carrie does say that she comes from a long line of goat shavers.
This is true.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
Is it a euphemism? Is it Grant seems to think that it is a euphemism because every time
isn't that great how
Carrie says it, he giggles like a schoolboy.
He both
delightful.
Acknowledges the joke and seems embarrassed by the fact that he's acknowledging it, but he can't help himself.
And I mean they don't insist on it at all.
No.
She says he was like, it's a really well shaved goat. And then that's it. Brilliant. It's
so
not
good.
It's not forced. It's not forced.
Not one bit.
It's just lightly touched upon.
Great. Getting into the actual testing, though, as you were saying, they first stick what they call the geophone down in this hole that they have dug near a mine, an actual old mine. Did it bother you that they were genuinely pickaxing in a historical mine?
So much.
I found it so uncomfortable.
So much. And I thought for sure we were going to get a scene like in Rocket Car where he's like calling the military and he's like, can we put one of those on a car? And they're like, no. What? No, absolutely not. Like, I guess they have enough clout at this point.
Yeah.
That maybe they bypassed a few of those conversations. But like, what are you doing?
Well,
and of course, you've got a historic mine.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be down there picking away. Who are you sending in?
Obviously, Jamie Heineman.
Obviously.
Well,
they didn't even need to tell me. I knew.
That was the first thing that got me is when he goes in to tour the mine. Adam and Jamie go to tour the mine and Jamie's got the pickaxe and the guy giving the tour makes the joke about like, oh, I'm a little bit worried. This guy's got a pickaxe. I'm keeping my eye on it. And then they go in and he's like, you can actually match the pickaxe in your hand to the tool marks on the wall. And Jamie's like, oh, really? And just hits the wall. And I was like, I got uncomfortable because I was expecting the scene to turn to the guy being like, what are you doing? You more, but then he doesn't, and they do it a lot more. It was so weird.
More. Yeah,
so strange.
I mean, again, I guess if you're a Mythbuster, you can get away with a lot.
They're getting to that point. They're getting to that point where the gloves are off. They can they can do a lot more than we're used to seeing them get away with on the show, which is
also just how natural.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure that Jamie has ever looked more natural than with a pickaxe in his hand.
I know.
It's just like, it just works.
Totally.
It's just such a vibe.
I'm just surprised he wasn't shirtless.
I wish.
We've seen it before.
It is strangely fantastic.
Yeah, I know. It is.
His strong man from the 20s physique.
You need someone to do some pickaxing for you here.
1800s pugilist physique.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. Yes.
Like, fists up.
Like he'd be fighting Abraham Lincoln.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Just kicking the ever-living
stuff
out of Abraham Lincoln.
As you mentioned, though, when they start doing the pickaxing, the geophone that they're using, which is like a seismic device, can barely pick up the detections. It's just Grand is monitoring it, and it's like hardly there, which is amazing in its own right that it was that, the picking was that light when it was coming through the ground. Like the vibrations are that light that even the advanced equipment that is made to do this, can't pick it up. Because I would assume that device is for actual seismic activity, which would be much greater. So that gives you an idea of just how little sound and reverberation is really being caused by the pickaxe, which is what makes it insane that the drums pick it up, man. Like Carrie
really does.
Carrie looks so natural and zen doing this.
She is plugged in.
Yes.
She is ready to hear. And also, another thing that I kept thinking about is that presumably, like, this worked having one guy down there picking away in intervals pretty spread apart, right? So, like, that's the lowest threshold.
Right.
Like, in this actual scenario, there would presumably be a decent amount of people picking away, So, like, this they end up calling it plausible. I think it might be a bit more than plausible.
Yeah.
I think it's like as close to, like, I get why they just went with plausible, but
Right.
I don't know. I think this one's confirmed.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I was surprised when it got hit with plausible, but then I remembered that I think what's still at this point of the show confirmed is for things that they can definitively say yes, it happened or not. And
that's a good point.
And this is, as you said, like 3rd century or whatever. So they have no way to know if it was actually in use. There's not enough historical evidence to back up the fact. But the testing does show that this would have been a totally effective method. The third, they do 3 tests. The first one is 50 feet away. The second one is directly below them. The third is over 100 feet away. And at the 50 and 100 foot marks, they're able to detect the the tapping on the drum that is reverberations from the pickaxes. The only blind spot comes in the second test where it is directly beneath them. But as Carrie points out, I think, or Carrie or Tori, one of the two, point out, if you were trying to tunnel in, you wouldn't be directly beneath the city anyway. You would be out coming in. Nobody goes just straight down. You would be going down and under. So it is entirely plausible that this would work. And as you said, it would have been at an even greater scale. Maybe you have multiple of these drums around in different places and, people listening. Carrie says it best. Like, this is one of the most satisfying parts of the show is you take something like this that seems completely ridiculous and it just works.
Wild.
My note was like, I think this is one of my new favorites because it was so well put together and the result is flabbergasting and great. This was just awesome.
I am inclined to agree. It's no chicken gun, but what this one has is that this one made me do a full 180 where like I was not convinced that this was going to be terribly interesting until they got out there and did it. And I was like,
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Shocking result. Ultimately, as we said, the verdict is plausible because who knows if this really happened or not, but works, pretty much ticks every box across the board, including just being a great myth. This was awesome.
I can't believe that worked.
So what do we think? Is it busted, plausible, or confirmed?
Well, we know that it was written about in an ancient Chinese text, but we couldn't find any evidence physically that it ever existed.
Yeah, but it is a fairly complex and esoteric system to write about if it wasn't used at some point successfully.
So, what do we call this? Plausible?
I'd say that meets the definition of plausible.
Absolutely plausible.
Agreed.
Amazing.
Myth 2, the 5-second rule. I feel like I don't even need to describe what this one is because it is a classic thing that we all heard, particularly as kids. But the idea is that if you drop food on the floor, if you pick it up within 5 seconds, it is still perfectly fine and safe to eat. And how that is going to be mythbuster-ified, for lack of a better word, is there any actual science to the idea that food on the floor collects more bacteria after 5 seconds than before 5 seconds? Does time actually matter, or is it just the fact that food is hitting the floor? This is another one that, to me, I think they even say this at the end, was never really in doubt as to what the result might be, because obviously, but it made it no less satisfying. And the fact that they are able to make bacterial testing as entertaining as they do, again, it's just a sign of how good they have gotten on the show, because this was awesome.
Yeah. What did you have a particular movie in mind that you were thinking of as you were watching this one?
A movie for 5 seconds? No, I did not.
Osmosis Jones for me.
I don't even know what that is.
What?
Osmosis
Jones? Cliff, somebody is yelling at their phone right now. I guarantee
And
it.
it's you listening back to this show later.
Well, yeah, obviously. But somebody else is probably too. No, what? You've never seen Osmosis Jones? With,
I don't
Chris
know what
Rock
this is.
as a cartoon anthropomorphized, I believe, white blood cell.
You know,
And
I just looked it up. The poster is very familiar. I've certainly seen things from this. I did not know it was called Osmosis
we
Jones.
need to watch Osmosis Jones.
2001.
2001.
The tagline is, "He's one cell of a guy."
That
I
kind of
mean,
works.
It's as funny as anything else on this
Kind
show.
of a pun. Could you not have just done "he's a cell of a guy"?
No, because he's a single cell organism.
No, I understand. That's what the article means.
Yeah. Wow, now we're getting into like scientific and lexical humor. This is wow. I'm glad we saved this for the middle of the show, because there's only the hardcores left at this point anyway.
In that movie, Bill Murray. So, like, the stuff outside of the body is live action. The stuff in the body is animated. Bill Murray drops a hard-boiled egg, I believe, in a chimpanzee enclosure, and it's like, whoa, 5-second rule, and eats it anyway.
What is happening? What is this movie?
It's the best movie, dude. You have to see. Okay, we'll. Last thing I'll say, you and I, we will figure out a time to watch Osmosis Jones, because you absolutely must. But the only reason that I bring that up is that he gets like a horrible disease as a result. The disease is like the villain of the piece. And it's because the 5-second rule doesn't actually work. So I have never, like, it scared me so bad as a child that I never gave any credence to this one. Not even from a scientific standpoint. It was just because I was like, well, I don't know. I saw Osmosis Jones once, and he got pretty sick.
Are you telling me that the moral of this 2001 kids movie is that the 5-second rule doesn't work if it's a chimpanzee enclosure? Is that really
100%.
what they were trying to impart on a generation?
Yeah.
And it worked, apparently.
It's also a buddy cop.
Oh my God.
It's so good, Cliff. I cannot believe you haven't seen Osmosis Jones.
Well, tune in to Try This at Osmosis Jones, our new
hit podcast.
Where we just watch that movie every week until it makes sense. Wow. Man, I am that is that's a new one for the list. I'm excited now.
Yeah, good luck bringing it back
Well,
to the topic at hand.
Yeah, single cell organisms, petri dishes, we're in the same kind of territory.
Nice. Wow.
See?
2 degrees. Well done.
Thank you. Kevin Bacon's going to show up.
That's a new record. Of which we are both 2 degrees away.
This is true. So yes, this one is more of a straight up scientific kind of test. We've seen them do this a little bit before in a couple of other myths, but this was like the biggest kind of, pure like bacterial test tubey sort of thing we've seen them do yet. They're going to test, first, they kind of need to get a standard, so to speak. So they're going to test the floor around M5 to see just how dirty it is. And my immediate thought was M5 has to be the worst place on earth to test this.
filthy.
They just do a montage of all the stuff that has happened just in the last, like at this point, 2 years at M5. And
Which
it's like,
one was the grossest to you?
well, that actually brings up an interesting question. Because when they get to the bathroom, they're showing, here's some weird things that have happened. And they show the skunk, when the skunk was in the bathroom for that myth. They show the ducks from the duck quack episode. And then they mention Adam rubbing grease on the toilet. And I don't know if you had the same thought I did, which was, we've watched every episode of this show, and I've never seen that happen.
I don't recall, and I really think I would have.
Right? And they
Yeah.
just roll over it. So of course I had to do some research and see what this is. We have another lost Mythbusters moment. This is happening more and more as the show goes on. So on the Mythbusters subreddit, someone asked a question about this and said, wait a minute, I don't remember this ever happening. And people chimed in and said it's from the Cleaning with Cola episode, which if you go back to that episode, you will not find that in the episode because it was an outtake. And this myth, which was that cola could be used to clean grease,
Right,
only
I do remember that.
only appeared in the outtakes special episode, which apparently aired in March of 2005. So the same year as the episode we're talking about now, but it is not in the current run on HBO Max. I have not been able to find it. It is another, much like the Jaws episode, it appears to be another lost Mythbusters episode.
We got to do it. We have to find every single... If we get to the end of this and we've seen 300 episodes but are missing a few, I'm going to be pissed.
I know. We've got to get this right.
This is all or nothing, baby.
My research did lend a new, maybe helpful tool in this endeavor, however, which I found a website that we've made it this far into the show. We've been doing this show for a year and a half, and I had never run into this. There's a website called mythresults.com, which actually has results and information about every myth from Mythbusters. And they describe what happened in this lost outtake myth. So I wanted to read that description so we can at least get caught up. If we can't find the episode, at least we can get caught up. Here's what they say. For this myth, Adam dirtied M5's bathroom with engine oil in preparation for the cleanup. Jamie was greatly upset at this, but Adam assured him he'd be able to clean it. Adam tried to clean it with cola, which only made the problem worse. Adam eventually cleaned using regular all-purpose cleanser, which worked well. So,
Fair.
yeah, kind of a classic. It feels right. It feels like that's exactly what would happen. And yeah, we need to track this down. Another little lost nugget of Mythbusters gold that we need to find.
We do need to find that. I still think, for some reason, the buttermilk moss is particularly disgusting to me.
Yeah.
But look, at least they weren't testing on the sidewalk outside of M5.
Where
the site of a certain cliff.
pig stew.
Would you like? There it is.
Where they did show Scotty picking up toast off the ground and eating it. Are you just putting that together? Harrison just dropped his microphone in disgust for those listening.
Pigs in there. Sorry, I just clipped the audio.
You've never had like barbecue toast? What?
I don't like you. I just don't. I kind of think you suck. First the pig stew, now pig stew.
Oh,
Where will it end, Bumgardner? Where's the bottom?
there is none. There is no bottom. As this show goes on, we're just going to keep scraping lower and lower and lower.
Until we hit a pig carcass.
Until we hit a pig carcass or Jimmy Hoffa, whichever comes first.
Or Jimmy Hoffa, or get found out through the use of clay jar jumps.
Yes.
I
Perfect.
really struggled to get that out.
Well,
Clay
I mean,
jar drums.
clay
jar
jar.
drums.
Yeah, that is hard. That's
Got
hard.
you too.
You're not
Listener,
wrong.
try to say clay jar drums, and if you can get it the first try, let us know in a mean comment.
If the buttermilk moss grossed you out, how did you feel about beef stock floor? Because that becomes a thing in this episode.
You know how I felt about beef stock floor.
Not great. Not great.
Well,
Well,
really
we should.
hated it actually.
I actually jumped ahead there. We should say that what they ultimately find out is that the floor of M5, and I would assume this is true of any floor anywhere, is very uneven in how much bacteria is spread out. Spots even right next to each other that were tested yielded totally different results. So they have the idea that they're going to essentially make a controlled test where they're going to get pieces of like tile floor equally filthy so that they can then test on them. This is also where they started doing some bonus myths that were just getting thrown in because Adam was having fun with his science kit, as Robert Lee says, and tested bacteria on a toilet seat, which is a thing that I've always heard.
Toilet.
Back toilet.
Back toilet.
Back toilet. But the idea that, a toilet seat is actually the cleanest place in your house because you clean it more often or, whatever the case may be. And that turns out to be true. The cleanest thing in M5 is a toilet seat, which is not necessarily surprising, but is very satisfying to me.
No, but I do love how dismissive Jamie is of this. He's like,
Oh, he
"Well,
thinks
of
it's so
course, you
pointless."
clean it all the time. What else do you clean with such regularity? And Adam's like, well, we're not rubbing our butts all over the floors.
Yeah, Adam has to
Not a bad
basically be
point,
like,
Adam.
Jamie, we're making a TV show and this is funny because of butts. Like, he really has to just
Yes,
remind
he's
him
like-
of like,
Now hang on. Have you considered butts?
have you thought about butts though?
Have you thought about butts lately? I know I have. Every once in a blue moon.
But that is what got them to their controlled tests where, yeah, they used beef stock or beef broth that they then left the tiles in and
Better than
allowed
pig
them.
stock.
Yeah, but they used the word, they said that they allowed it to fester.
Yeah.
Not good. You don't want festering unless you're in the Addams family. That's the only good fester. Otherwise, no.
Come on. Did you write that ahead of time?
No, actually, if I think of
On
that
the
word,
spot.
I think of
Wow.
Uncle Fester. I love me
Well
some
done.
90s Addams Family movies. So,
Specifically?
yes. love all
Interesting.
Addams Family, but especially the 90s ones where like every 90s movie, they had to involve some sort of like tax fraud scheme or land grab, for no
It was
reason.
all the rage.
All the rage. Those movies are great.
Good thing those things went away.
Yeah. No longer the villains in children's movies are just trying to steal houses and things.
Exactly.
It's just
That's what
the
the
villains
Hey
in real
Arnold
life.
movie was about as well, if I'm not
Oh my
mistaken.
God, you're right. See? What was
There was,
going
like, some
on
big
back then?
development. I don't know, but I loved it, man.
Well,
There were some awesome plots.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? This sounds like a joke, but it's true. The plot for that was taken from an unfilmed Chinatown sequel. It was supposed to be a sequel, to Roman Polanski's Chinatown. I think it's actually written by, was it Robert Towne who wrote the original? And
No idea.
yeah, they had this whole plot about the trolley cars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That all comes from a never made Chinatown sequel. So maybe that's what was going on back then. They were just grabbing different scripts and changing the characters around. I don't know.
And this is the one time it actually worked out
Yes.
to the great benefit of all humanity.
That 30 years later, I bring it up on a podcast about another seminal work of late 90s, early 2000s television.
Why not?
Perfect.
That's just slowly what the show is going to become.
Oh, I mean, come on. This is a
In a
nostalgia.
way, it always was.
This is a nostalgia bomb no matter what. We've been referencing James Bond since the beginning. That's what this is.
Oh no, I don't think I've gotten a reference. I want to smash Moneypenny. There we go. That's kind of like a reference. It's not, but it's vaguely similar to a reference.
I love that you didn't try to relate it to the episode at all. I was thinking like, Dr. No, don't lick a toilet or whatever. And nope, just with an accent, want to smash Moneypenny.
Dr. No, don't lick a toilet would be a hit. I hope that's Denis Villeneuve's next movie.
Oh, that'd be good.
Amazon announces it. They're going back to basics with Dr. No, don't lick a toilet. Or actually, do lick a toilet. Do lick a toilet.
Turns out,
I think is the takeaway.
Don't lick. It should be don't lick Adam.
Don't lick Adam's mouth.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam's wife.
Sorry, Adam's mouth.
Sorry, Adam's dog, apparently, too. So another nice little side test that they do is Adam actually says at one point when they're doing the testing, you know what I want to do? I want to get a dog in and test the blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, that's fun. Adam's just having fun. And then they did it, which is great. It was like, I love that they're just chasing Adam's whimsy.
I mean, you've heard that one before, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it turns out also, or some early results here, also turns out to be true.
Okay, but come on. Jamie has an incredible clapback.
He does.
In that moment. Where he's like, turns out it's cleaner than a person's mouth. He's like, no, it's cleaner than your mouth. Oh, Jamie. Never change. Never change, my darling Heinemann.
It's a great example of what we talked about a few weeks ago, that like, even though it doesn't seem like it, Jamie knows what he's doing when it comes to like his persona. It just seems like he's kind of vacant and you know, over serious, but he knows that that's part of the joy, and it's so good when it happens.
Yep.
Always so entertaining. The last part of this myth came in to actually doing the final test of, well, first they use wet food and dry food on the festered tiles, for lack of a better term. And then they have the idea. You're welcome.
Why do you delight in grossing me out?
It's the end of the season. I got to get it in while I can. Well, and then they have the idea, which I thought was smart.
Hey, shame with Moneypenny. Get over here.
At least that one was in context.
Sometimes. Don't count on it happening again.
I thought you were going to say it's not in context. It's in Moneypenny.
Well, I should have.
So they do wet food and dry food, a piece of pastrami and a cracker to see if the wet or dry has any difference. And then they also say, let's just do pure time. So let's put the Petri dish directly on the floor for 2 seconds and 6 seconds and see if there is any difference. And the final results, unsurprisingly, as gross as it was, the pastrami picked up more bacteria than the crackers because it is a moist food, as they say, which I know I just grossed out even more people listening to the show with that word. But that there was on the food alone, there was no definitive difference in the timing. No matter how long the food was there, it picked up roughly the same amount of bacteria. And then even in the pure time test with just the bare Petri dishes, same thing again. No difference between the 2 and 6 second samples. So as whatever that weird movie was you were describing a minute ago taught you as a child. Osmosis Jones, thank you.
Banging Moneypenny.
The 5 second rule appears to not be true, which I thought, again, pretty obvious, result from the beginning, but their storytelling was so good in this, and the way that they paced it out and the way that they went through every element, it was another, just like, as we go through this is one of the best episodes we've seen in a while. It really all came together in this one.
Which is so interesting because, I mean, when it started, I strongly felt like this was going to be a tacked on one.
Yeah.
Because, like, it comes after the Mythbusters Revisited one. So,
right.
Like, I was certain that it was just going to kind of be like The Leftovers. And it's like, no, this one's really strong. Now, they, maybe the network thought that it wasn't as strong. You know what I mean?
Right, because there's nothing blows up.
Explosions. Right, nothing blows up. Like, Spike TV is all the rage right now. This isn't going to work. But, like, I love their ability to do both. That's what makes it Mythbusters, baby.
Adam even says that at one point. He was like, blowing stuff up is fun, but this is my favorite kind of stuff. And I think, this is the maturity of coming back to this show as an adult. I think I'm with him. I feel the same way, that like, it's great. My favorite thing is plops. I think we've established that. Drop Buster from a high height. That is the most satisfying thing you're going to see.
Yes.
But second to that, it's the more detailed science stuff. Some of the like social engineering stuff that they've done, I thought was really interesting and different. More about like psychology kind of aspects of it. The more detailed stuff that has more kind of in-depth testing and scientific methodology is just they've gotten so good at it in a relatively short amount of time on the show. It's awesome. Well, this one in particular was busted, and that means that we have reached the end of this season of Try This at Home. Can you believe it? 26 episodes. This was twice as long as our season 1/season 2 outing.
A double helping.
Yeah, a double helping, and we will be back. As we mentioned, we're gonna be taking a little bit of a break, and working on the next season of the show, figuring out what we want that to look like and how we want the show to be. If you have suggestions, keep them to yourself. Just kidding.
No, let us know in your 4-star review.
There you go. Let us know in your 4-star review. But
or your
also,
mean YouTube comment.
we will be back. We will not be without Mythbusters goodness in the meantime. We're going to have new bonus episodes every 2 weeks. Maybe we'll pop in a little bit more often than that if something comes up. But the plan is every 2 weeks there will be a new episode in the feed. Starting 2 weeks from now, we are going to be watching the Mythbusters Revealed episode. So that is one of the few specials that seems to have made it onto HBO Max, and it is a behind-the-scenes look at how Mythbusters is made, which is kind of our whole bag here on the podcast.
That's the whole thing.
So
we will be revealing the revealed.
Very excited to see what we learned from that, and what we actually get to peek into the Mythbusters world. Maybe some of our friends will pop up, folks that we've had here on the podcast over the last year and gotten to know, like Peter Heap and Anthony Griffiths, Andrew Farrell, the whole crew, Adam, of course. We'll see. So we're excited to dig into that. But until then, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye, bubbies.
Try This at Home is produced by Slugline Media. The show was written, hosted, edited, and shot onto the internet by Cliff Bumgardner and Harrison Stewart. Our music is by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. You can follow the show on Instagram at TryThisPod or email us, trythisathomepod@gmail.com.